This is my retire early on 872 per month in Da Nang, Vietnam information. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for vagabondbuddha.com. We're presently touring Southeast Asia, investigating the best places to retire. Although there will be a few challenges retiring in Da Nang, Vietnam, which I will cover, Da Nang is now one of my top 2 places to retire in Vietnam. Let me explain how I know this. I've been traveling the world for 17 years now, 67 countries so far. I return to the United States for a week or 2 each year to see family and friends, but the rest of the year I keep moving forward, showing you the best places to retire in paradise for pennies. I've spent 7 months living and touring all over Vietnam from north to south. Without hesitation, I can tell you that Vietnam is a place where you can get a really big bang for your buck. Vietnam is in the center of Southeast Asia, facing the South China Sea. Da Nang has an international airport, so it's easy to get there from overseas. We'll be reporting on our other favorite city to retire in Vietnam next week, so subscribe if you want to learn more about that also. The local Vietnamese food is some of the most delicious and healthiest food in the world. We've been eating in the neighborhood restaurants for $1 to $2 per meal per person. Plus, my apartment in my favorite part of Da Nang is only $260 per month, only a few blocks from the beach. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in Vietnam is to eat a steady diet of Western-style food in the expat restaurants. Western-style food costs 4 or 5 times as much as Vietnamese food, and in my opinion, it's not as healthy as Vietnamese food, which contains a more healthy balance of fresh greens. During our present month-long stay in Da Nang, Vietnam, the local restaurant food was so reasonably priced and so delicious, we ate almost every single meal out at our favorite local restaurants in Da Nang. We only cooked 1 meal at home this month, which is highly unusual for us because we both enjoy cooking. But the Vietnamese restaurant food was so cheap and so delicious, we couldn't justify the extra time it would take us to shop, cook, and clean up. But if you do decide to buy groceries and cook at home, you'll find the best prices at the public market. Everything seems more fresh in the public market, and the prices are often much cheaper. You can also walk to smaller open-air markets in your neighborhood to pick up the fresh foods each day. But avoid the expat grocery stores whenever possible. What costs you $1 at a supermarket in your home country could easily cost you $3 here. Remember, standard brands from home are imported foreign fancy foods once they're shipped internationally. So only go to the expat grocery stores and malls for things you can't find in the public market, like hair and skin products, or once a month or so to get a few expensive imported foods you miss from home. If you don't know how to find the best Vietnamese food in town, just eat at our favorites. Then you'll know what we're talking about. All of our favorite restaurants, markets, and malls are listed at the first link in the notes below this video. It is just normal human behavior to want to eat the same foods you grew up with when you first move overseas, especially if you don't know what to order when you first open a Vietnamese menu. So you'll be continually tempted to eat at the expensive expat-style restaurants. But if you start with our local food favorites, you'll quickly identify a variety of foods that locals eat that you also enjoy. This will help you easily stay within your food budget. Just imagine if your daily food budget for 3 meals per day dropped to less than $5 per person per day. And most of these local restaurants include tea with their meals. It is mind-blowing. And rents are no different. Locals can easily find apartments for less than $200 per month. In 1 day of walking around, we found a furnished apartment in our favorite area with kitchen, balcony, and a washing machine for clothing for just $260 per month. But don't book 30-day stays on Airbnb.com anymore. Internet-connected landlords are overcharging all over the world now. Just book a few days online and then find a local place once your feet are on the ground. This report explains how. If you want more space, such as a townhouse, you'll spend around $500 to $7 US per month, depending on square footage and amenities. But stay away from the retire overseas gurus who try to get you to buy real estate when you first move overseas. You should just rent for the first year or two. You won't believe how many expats have told me they wished they had waited much longer before making such permanent decisions. If someone is being pushy about real estate, it might mean they're getting a big kickback if they can get you to buy. Okay, cost of living in Da Nang, Vietnam. Here's our estimated cost of living converted into US dollars if the two of us moved to Da Nang year-round on a lower budget. But other people we meet more typically spend around $500 or $600 per month for a townhouse with 2 or 3 bedrooms. Here is the process we use to find great apartments all over the world, but you can also just contact this agent if you want to rent the same one we did. So we will show you a table of all expenses in a moment. We will use $260 per month for our lower rent estimate and $600 per month for the higher cost of living estimate. Our combined utilities for the month were $33.12, but that was in the winter for both water and electricity. We estimate around $80 per month for utilities as a year-round average number because AC will be more in the summer. The utilities would be about $120 US per month for the larger place for a higher cost of living expats. Okay, groceries. As mentioned earlier, we went out to eat almost every meal while in Da Nang. But if we lived here, we may spend a little more on groceries and cook at home, but still eat out at least 5 or 6 times a week. It's so cheap and delicious. We would shop mostly in the public market where the vegetables, fruits, and rice are much cheaper than in the expat grocery stores. We estimate about $250 per month for groceries if we were to cook at home. Other expats are likely to buy more expensive imported foods from home and more meats, so they would likely spend $350 per month in the grocery stores and in the expat grocery stores. Okay, restaurants. If we went out to eat 5 or 6 times per week, mostly at local Vietnamese restaurants, and only once or twice per week in expat-style restaurants, we would spend around $60 per week or $240 per month in restaurants for the two of us. Other expats are likely to eat more Western foods in expensive expat-style restaurants and less in Vietnamese restaurants, so they would likely spend $350 per month for 2 people. Okay, cell phone data. The cost to recharge our prepaid service is about $6 per month, which includes 6 gigabytes of data per day. My Android phone will act as a hotspot so we can both be on the internet at the same time when we are out of the house together. Other expats are likely to buy 2 prepaid SIM cards, so they would spend $12 per month for 2 people. Okay, laundry. Our apartment included a clothes washing machine, and people hang dry their clothes in Southeast Asia. Since the laundry detergent is included on our grocery bill, there's no expense for laundry. Okay, drinking water. We use a water filter we carry with us, and the replacement cost filters are about $3 per month. All right, internet. 30 megabits per second up and download is about $10 per month for in-home Wi-Fi. It is advertised at 100 megabits per second, but the realized speed is about 30 megabits per second up and down. Okay, transportation. We walked almost everywhere in our favorite area of Da Nang, My On Beach it's called. It was about $3 USD to get a Grab taxi to downtown for shopping in the mall. So that would be $6 round trip. If we went on round trips once per week, it would cost $24 per month. Stay away from renting scooters unless you are highly experienced riding scooters in Southeast Asia. It can be very dangerous. Okay, alcohol, which of course is optional. Local beer is around 25,000 dong in local bars and restaurants, which is $1, and about 18,000 dong in stores, which is about 72 cents. So we would spend around $90 per month on alcohol for the two of us. Other expats would spend more, a higher amount, for imported foreign or craft beers in expat bars for about $2 to $3 each. So about $180 per month for two people, assuming they are not into imported whiskey or wine. Okay, entertainment, which is optional. We would budget about $200 per month for entertainment for the two of us. We generally enjoy doing more do-it-yourself kinds of entertainment, which saves some money. But most expats would spend a little more, maybe $300 per month for two of them. Okay, let's add all that up. For our lower expense, it's $260 for rent, $80 for utilities, $250 for groceries, $240 for restaurants, $6 for cell data, laundry is $0, drinking water is $3, internet is $9, and transportation is $24 per month. If you add all that up, it's $872 for the lower expenses. If you have optional alcohol for $90 more, it gets up to $962. And for $200 optional entertainment, brings you up to $1,162. Now, how about the higher expenses? With rent, it's $600, utilities at $120, groceries at $350, restaurants at $350, cell data at $12, laundry still $0, drinking water is $3, internet is $9 per month, and transportation would be $24 per month. That would bring you up to $1,468 per month for a higher expat spending. And then if they drank $180 per month in alcohol, that brings them to $1,648. And if they had $300 per month in entertainment, that would bring them up to $1,948 per month. The above lower estimated cost of living would be if the two of us moved to Da Nang on a tight budget. The higher above estimate is just an example of what other expats might spend if they moved here and were easy come, easy go with their money. To fully understand what it would cost you to live here, you must do an exploratory visit and put your feet on the ground before you really know what your expenses are. Never move anywhere until you have visited first personally to verify the living costs for your lifestyle and needs. I'm not guaranteeing these prices for anyone. These are just my notes and estimates from the time of my visit and this post. Your costs will likely be drastically different depending on your lifestyle and how long ago this post was. Okay, next up is Da Nang livability factors. Here are the factors I think about when I consider a place for early retirement potential. After I discuss each factor, I'll assign an overall retirement desirability score to Da Nang. I'm writing these observations based on my personal experience over the last month here and my last visit 4 years ago. Okay, walkability. I would say high. Chung and I both fell in love with a little community about 15 minutes south of central Da Nang on the beach. The walkable streets we love here are in the red circle that is shown on Google Maps. The area is also called My An Beach. I would love to live here. Everything you need, like restaurants, expensive and cheap, foreign and domestic foods, wet markets, and a gorgeous beach would all be extremely walkable. Internet, okay, high. The internet Wi-Fi has not been an issue in Vietnam. It's 30 megabits per second up and down in our apartment in Da Nang. Unlock your phone before exiting the US. Pick a SIM card that includes 6 gigabytes per day for just $6 US per month. Typical of Southeast Asia, you're allowed to use your Android phone as a hotspot for your computer if you get a dud Wi-Fi connection anywhere, including your house. Okay, food, high. I love Vietnamese food. If you eat all 3 meals per day in restaurants like we have, you can easily stay under $5 per day per person if you eat the local food. But other expats budgeting $10 to $15 per day per person because they eat 3 meals per day in Western-style restaurants. Okay, weather. I would say high. We love the weather here. Average daily highs range seasonably from 77 Fahrenheit, which is 25 Celsius, in December, to 94 Fahrenheit, which is 34 Celsius, in July. Average nightly lows range seasonably from 66 Fahrenheit or 19 Celsius in January to 78 Fahrenheit to 26 Celsius in June. The rainy season is September through November, when at least some rain falls 15 plus days of the month, 20 days in October and November. If the heat is ever too much, just take a trip up to 𝗏, Vietnam, to cool down. At 4,500 feet above sea level and rooms starting at around $10 to $15 per night, view our 𝗏 report to know where to eat and play in cooler weather up there in 𝗏. Okay, things to do here. Medium: beaches, boats, fishing, hiking, biking, markets, learning to cook Vietnamese, join expat groups, meditation, yoga, exploring restaurants, archaeological exploration, trips around Vietnam and Southeast Asia, snorkeling, scuba, coffee shops, dance classes, martial arts, museums, Monkey Mountain, Marble Mountain, bus to Hoi An, rent a scooter and explore the back roads, check out the nightlife, and drink coffee or tea in a sidewalk cafe and people watch. Make sure to try the frozen coconut coffee. Okay, expat communities. I would say hi. There are about 10,000 people that have joined the 4 main Da Nang, Vietnam Facebook expat pages, links provided. There are often local people that also join these expat pages, but there should be enough people here to live an entirely expat social life if that's your thing. If you are less expat oriented like me, these Facebook resources are still great resources to find odds and ends in Da Nang that you miss from home. They're also a great place to buy and sell things, find a place to live, and find out things that only a foreigner that has lived in Da Nang for a few years would likely know about. Okay, real estate. I would say hi. A 700 square foot apartment, which is 65 square meters, would sell in the range of about $67,000 to $124,000, according to Numbeo, link provided. You'll have to pay the higher end of that range as you approach the most expensive areas. Don't even consider buying until you have lived in a place for at least a year or two and are totally in love with it. Even then, make sure you get very good legal advice from someone not associated with your broker or your new local lover. Land ownership is very limited for foreigners. Instead, consider keeping your house in the US or your home country and rent that out. That will give you some inflation protection because rents tend to go up every year in the West faster than they go up in Southeast Asia. Then just rent in Vietnam. Okay, medical. I would say hi. Historically, wealthier Vietnamese would often travel to Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, or Singapore for significant health challenges. But over the last decade, Vietnam has slowly been raising their game medically. We met 2 American expats while visiting in Da Nang, one who has lived in Da Nang for a year and moved here from Saigon, where she lived for 1.5 years. While in Saigon, she had surgery on her leg at the French Vietnam or FV hospital, which cost about $1,200 for everything. She paid for it herself since she has no insurance. She said it felt more like a 5-star resort than a hospital. I have had a checkup at that hospital in Saigon, and it's first class. We also met an expat whose wife had a baby at the hospital in Da Nang called International Vinmec. He said the services were amazing and only cost him $500 for everything, even though it was a C-section birth. Okay, visa, medium. There's no retirement visa in Vietnam. The expats we've met mostly just do a visa run once a month to renew their visa. But I just read a comment on one of the above Da Nang Facebook pages today that an expat was excited that you can now get a 3-month e-visa for $25 every time she does a visa run. We also ran into a few expats on the street that said hello to us because they recognized us from our YouTube channel. They both mentioned that their agents take care of their visa run for them for $100 per month. None of the expats we've chatted with had said they had any trouble doing visa runs one after another over the last few years. According to them, it's an accepted practice here in Vietnam, like it was in Thailand a decade or so ago. But I know a few people that left Vietnam over the last 3 years because they were tired of doing visa runs every month. But we may have more good news for you. We just did the new 3-month e-visa and it works great. Now we're just waiting to hear from other expats if Vietnam immigration is letting people use the 3-month e-visa for back-to-back visa runs. Once we have more data that Vietnam is routinely accepting the 3-month e-visa without objection for visa runs, it'll mean people can stay in Vietnam indefinitely by doing only 4 visa runs per year for $25 each for 3 months each. That would be amazing. Okay, pollution. I would say medium. The air in Da Nang Central is way better than Hanoi, and the air at the expat beach community in Da Nang is even cleaner than Da Nang Central. You can check the air quality here. Today, even Da Nang Central is rated okay. Transportation. Everything we need is in the My An neighborhood where we stayed. It's all within walking distance. The only time we took a Grab taxi was to go downtown Da Nang and visit the malls there. Plus, there's a bus, 30K Dong, about $1.20, into central Da Nang that is 15 to 20 minutes. Plus, one of my other favorite places in Vietnam called Hoi An, I'll tell you about that next week, is only 30 minutes away by bus for the same price, about $1.20. Okay, Da Nang, cheap retirement, desirability score. I would say high. Vietnam is now clearly near the top of my countries to retire cheap in paradise for pennies. Da Nang in particular, and specifically the beach neighborhood, ranks very high in Vietnam. I'll give you a link to that on the first link below. Subscribe now, so when we do our worldwide ranking, you'll be the first to know. We head to Hoi An next. Hey, if you liked our video, please like, comment, or subscribe. Any of that would help our business. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Click the link in the notes below this video to get a copy of this content. Plus, grab a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 13 Years. While you're there, check out our catalog of retired cheap reports all over the world and our hobby income course that we just released. Thanks so much.